My name is Paul Bale. I'm the founder and host of the Canadian Bro Show, and we welcome you back for another exciting episode. We're so happy to be a part of this 13 months into our journey, and the handsome gentleman in the, really, it's an iconic toque. It's not just a toque, it's an iconic toque. We are the Canadian Bro Show, all things Canadian with Pauly and Johnny, and this is Mr. John Leister. My friend of over 50, about 53 years plus, but who's counting? And Johnny is a professional writer. I'm an amateur writer. And we are two of the co-hosts of the Canadian Bro Show. Johnny and I focus on Canadian pop culture, which is kind of varied. Our most current on the ticker below, we've got 3 of our episodes. So one is coming soon. And we like to do a series. We do a health series. This is our 8th or 9th. We've done a cinema series. That's about 7. We've done a variety of different topics, but we find interview series, which we really enjoy. We find that as supposed seniors, yes, we're actually seniors. Johnny and I, we only bring it up because that's the reality. It's the number. It's what society looks at when they find out you're 61. They go, "Oh my God, you're freaking ancient." Or and look at us in the back. I know that's a great photo, by the way, Johnny. And I incorporated that photo into our new logo that's above your head. But in the meantime, we want to talk about the episode because I think it's a really interesting episode, and sometimes the title can be a little bit confusing to people because a lot of people, when they look at the word entitlement or I am entitled,
I'm entitled.
Exactly, and you might be entitled, but nobody knows that. And at the end of the day, entitlement's not something you wake up in the morning and go, "I am entitled to climb Mount Everest today." It's just completely unrealistic. Well, what we're trying to do, and Johnny and I in the health series, is we're trying to discover and discuss the art of life entitlement in a positive way, a discovery of our souls, our minds, our hearts, and our spirits, all things Canadian with Pauly and Johnny. And I'm excited to do this, Johnny, and really I just want to do a very quick opening because I want to clarify what the art, and as I mentioned, Johnny's a professional writer. I'm kind of a weekend hack, so
that's my goal. I'm getting there.
Yeah, you are. You certainly are. And I'm just a hack, but I have a Canadian Bro Show, and I love this. I've been working on this for 15 years, and the art of life entitlement really is kind of like an oxymoron. A lot of people go, well, so you're going to just talk about all the things that you think you're entitled to? No. What we're going to do, because it's a strong title, if we're going to frame entitlement and we're going to contribute that in a positive light to making choices in our life, to have a strong mind, to have a healthy body, and to have a grounded spirit. And that is absolutely, I'm telling you, it's absolutely powerful. It is not a cliche. And the reason why we're doing this is, and by the way, just on a side note, Johnny and I are not doctors. We're not psychologists. We're not medical professionals. We're service-oriented people. Johnny's in the sales industry, and I'm a realtor, and I'm a real estate investor, and a retired basketball player. We are not doctors. We are speaking from our own life experiences. And myself, 61 years in this planet, and Johnny, 60, and we have contributed and put together this list and accumulated all this information because this is what we've been learning in our life. And if we really look forward for you all to sit back and enjoy, and hopefully, if you don't already know these things, sometimes a good reminder can really help you take that direction in life.
We and to start up in the behind sometimes.
Yeah, we do. And you know what's really interesting is that when I do a top 10 list, and I'm sure Johnny's the same, you know, we educate, we try to find out what's popular in Canada, what's popular in our age category, and in Canadian pop culture, and of course second iteration of the Canadian Bro Show is all things basketball with Pauly and Raleigh. So if you're a basketball fan and fantasy and NBA, check that out. We've got 46 episodes out on the ticker below, and then the third iteration coming soon. Been working on it for a while. Is Paul and Guest, the Real Estate Minute, which is mostly going to be shorts. But getting back to the show, the top 10 list that I try to write when I'm thinking about this, Johnny, is I want it to be influential in a positive way. Because a lot of people look at entitlement, either they wake up and they're entitled instantly to whatever they think they are, or they're like us, regular working class Joes that go out and work our tails off in order to achieve a self-fulfilling entitlement or manifestation. Absolutely. And so we want this to be inspirational. And of course, with YouTube, highly clickable. I think if you look at our stats, Johnny, we have a very large demographic from 35 to 65. And which is great, which is kind of what I've been trying to work on in the show, right? And this is a continuation of this. This is not just about for seniors. This is about for people in their 30s, their 20s, their 40s.
It's universal.
It really is, and it doesn't stop. So if you feel that you need to be entitled, get up off your ass and make it happen. And that's what we're going to do. Top 10, the art of life entitlement, the mind, the body, the spirit edition. I believe this is our episode 8. And Johnny, would you like to start off with today, your first?
Sure. Well, a lot of the items on this list that I've checked twice, like Santa Claus, we've talked about on previous podcasts. So I'll try to pick one that's maybe a little bit different. I'm going to go with role models. It's really important to have at least one person in your life that you look up to. Now, if you feel like a failure, if you feel like that you've squandered all of your opportunities, and I certainly felt that way for many years, for goodness sakes, just ask yourself, who do I look up to? Maybe it's your dad. For me as a boy, it was Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee was probably my number one role model. He was the epitome of masculinity and physical strength and mental strength.
Oh, yeah!
He was also very well educated. He had a degree in philosophy. He was an avid reader. He actually wrote screenplays, and he had many more screenplays to write. Unfortunately, he died at a very young age. I think he was 33 when he passed away. But to me, he epitomized like the absolute maximum potential of what a human being is capable of, and most of us set ourselves short. So that's first on my list, role modeling. If you feel like you don't know what to do with your life, there's got to be at least one person that you look up to, and find out how they achieve their success, and try to copy them if you can, and then learn along the way. So that's my first choice.
I love the concise nature of this. We've talked about our love for Bruce Lee and the tragic early death, and if there was anybody that was obviously entitled to be the best that he was in the entire world, he worked.
He earned his success.
Oh my goodness. And it was taken away from him very young, and probably in a nefarious way. But at the end of the day, there's been lots of written about it. But I love Bruce Lee. I love that. I think that's really important. If you're not into martial arts, find someone else. Find someone in film. Find a writer. Find a painter. Find a traveler. Find a YouTube channel that you like at the Canadian Bro Show.
Find someone who's actually doing what you want to do,
yes,
you're afraid to do.
Yes. This is what this is absolutely, Johnny, you hit it right on the note. This is what this show is all about. This is the art of life entitlement and how we manifest our dreams and our destinies, but do it in a way of positivity when it's involved with the body, the mind, the health, the vessel, everything. So my first thing is to remind people, and this is what Johnny did so eloquently to start off with, and I love it, because we're not telling what everybody to do. We're just simply reminding them of probably what they already know.
Do it this way or else! No.
And you are, first of all, when you wake up in the morning, you are entitled to mental clarity. Eliminate and remove and cut out negativity. Limit social media overload, except when you're watching the Canadian Bro Show, because it's free and it's wonderful and it's healthy and it's a great way for you to manifest and find yourself not entitled, but you're actually living the dreams that you set out to do and work for. And this is what we're doing. And then mental clarity. Protect your focus with clarity like you would money, your nest egg, or your car, or your dog, or your children. Whatever it is that's closest to your heart, understand that you're entitled to mental clarity. Make it happen. Manifest it. And it could be anything to you subjectively. Johnny, that's my first.
That's awesome. Okay.
And by the way, little hook line. If your mind is chaotic, your life is probably going to be chaotic, if not already chaotic.
That's
so
how that
just
works.
understand the clarity of that manifestation. Johnny, please.
Okay, that was fantastic. Okay,
Thanks,
I'm
Johnny.
going to go with do unto others. It's really important to treat everyone in your life the way that you like to be treated, especially the people that you don't like, especially the people who have pet peeves that drive you crazy, or you don't like their politics, or you don't like their habits, or you don't like their religion. You know, look, we all encounter people in our lives that don't quite fit the mold of what we think a person should be. We have to wake up in the morning and understand in advance that not everyone thinks the way that we do. We all have our own way of going through life. So treat people the way that you like to be treated. You know, at my job every day, I sit at the concierge desk and I'll greet, when I sit there, I meet and greet everyone that walks by me. Maybe 1 out of 10, bless you, son. Maybe
Excuse me.
one out of 10 people will return my greeting. Now, I don't blame them, and I don't take it personally, and that's an important life lesson.
Do you
too.
say hi to everyone?
Yeah, of course, because people are preoccupied. They're looking at their phones, they think about their stuff. But some people, they have this kind of caste system, sort of airy-fairiness about them. It's like, no, I'm not going to return your greeting because you're lower than me. And that's really unfortunate, and I'm so glad that I'm not that type of person. So that's my next choice. Do unto others as you would have done unto you.
Yeah, Johnny, I love the concise nature of how you're expressing yourself, and we have talked about this, but you know, it's just a gentle reminder, even to ourselves when we're breaking this down, we're writing this, and we're thinking about this. These are things that we've tried to incorporate and manifest in our lives, and it's working in a positive way. And this is why we're talking about this show. And the second thing that I feel that people need to be entitled, and you got to work at it sometimes, obviously. Sometimes people, it's just they slip into it, and they have a sense of this synonymous entitlement that is parallel and a parallel. They just slip screen into it, and some people can do it. Other people, they got to work their butts off. And this one here is, and we all need, this is so important to mental health. You are entitled to emotional control. Not suppressing feelings, but mastering reactions. Everything in life is reactionary. You master your reactions, you don't have to get mad at a single soul for the rest of your life.
Right.
You're only getting mad at yourself.
Anger is a waste of energy.
Totally. And therapy, journaling, which Johnny and I both do in our different way, and self-awareness. You start putting all these things that we're going to talk about in this fantastic episode today on the art of life entitlement. You're going to slip screen into a higher level of consciousness for the rest of your life and be able to stay there because it works and you're in control. You are entitled to a better life. Johnny, next.
Okay, very good. Okay, I'm going to go with
power angle. Sorry, I always forget this. I always so when I say it, I'm thinking, okay, make your point. Power angle. Strong men feel very deeply. A lot of women don't know this. Maybe more women know more about men than we do. But don't let emotions control your decisions.
No, that's the slippery slope.
It really is. So, Johnny, what do you got next?
Sure. That was awesome. Well, I'm going to
you.
go with humor. It's really important to have a sense of humor in life. And again, not to be so sensitive to other people's comments. You know, when I was a young man, oh my God, I mean, the chip on my shoulder was just like a brick mansion. I mean, I was just... Anybody who said anything to me that I felt was even, I had a hint of a perception of a slight, I would take it so personally, and I would think about it on the way home, and I'd get so angry, and that's all I would be thinking about. And of course, when we think that way, not only are we wasting time, but we're sacrificing whatever it is that we were really meant to do with our lives, just because someone is not fitting into, you know, your particular mold of how a person should express themselves. So have a sense of humor. Smile as often as you can. You know, read something online that you think is going to make you laugh. And again, just try to look at life that way because it just makes us feel better. And again, it all boils back down to feelings. If you're feeling negatively, you're not going to make any effort towards self-manifestation. Why would you? If you think people suck, if you think the world sucks, if you don't have a sense of humor, then this is probably why some people become drug addicts. You know, why do they do that? And I think in some cases, well, you know, there's obviously suffering emotionally, but they're taking life way too seriously.
Yeah, let's not go down that rabbit hole, but that's a good point. And the other thing is with Johnny's comment, it's so important, it's so simple, and everybody can do it, is just be kind. Like Johnny at work, he has a very harried job, he has tight schedules, and he's working all the time. He's dealing with the, in the epicenter of the downtown core in Vancouver, very cosmopolitan city, certainly not like Toronto, but it's growing, it's getting there, and he has a lot of responsibility, and he's very generous and kind. And I think more of us need to understand that kindness doesn't give you entitlement to everybody loving you. You need to love yourself. Be kind. Love yourself. Learn to love yourself, and everything else will be butter. Very nice, Johnny.
Focus on your strengths, not your weaknesses.
Yeah, absolutely. And then speaking about strength, it's funny how you always do that. My third one, and it's not in any order, it's just how I was feeling when I was writing, and Johnny and I work out every day for the most part, and you are entitled to physical strength. And you saw the guns on Johnny. He needs to probably work on that himself.
They're more like water guns.
No, but you have 11% body fat at 175 pounds at 6 foot, dude. You're gonna live a long time, God willing.
So. I want to live forever and ever.
Well, yeah, and you will. So, with regards to entitled to physical state, as you get older, like us in your 60s, we suffer from extreme levels of muscle atrophy if you're not active.
Use it or lose it.
Well, when you lose the muscles, the only way to bring them back is lifting weight.
Resistance training
And lifting weight. Resistance training is actually a magic. It brings in cardio with bikes and power walking and resistance, and then weights, and then swimming. There's so many things, but it's really important. Walk daily. If your wheels are as bad as mine, and my wheels playing basketball and being an athlete my whole 55 years of my life, probably in that area, probably more, my right knee is not functional anymore. I have full cartilage. I have no tears. It's just, I guess I have a really bad case of oldness, of
You're not the only one.
Arthritis. My knee doctor says I have, arthritis. And I don't know what that means, but I'm not really happy about it. At the end of the day, I don't walk daily. I used to for the last 4 years. Now I get on my bike and I do 10K in 45 minutes. And it's so much easier on my wheels. And the other is treat your body. And we had an episode about this, about the vessel. Treat your body, which is the vessel, like an asset. Understand that the vessel, the body, is not just an asset. It's the most important thing into the central nervous system of you manifesting entitlement for the rest of your life.
Wow.
Boom. And the strong point is your body is your first home. Would you live in a broken house?
Well, as I've said on previous podcasts, as Jack LaLanne likes to say, most guys treat their cars better than their bodies. Okay. Are you done? I'm going to go with philosophy. I think that this is the most important thing. Well, these are all important. But again, each of us needs to develop a philosophy that works for us. If you feel like a failure, if you feel like you're lost in space, like the Swiss Family Robinson, again, it's because you don't have a philosophy. That's why why do people lose their minds over the littlest things? Two guys walk out of a bar and their cars got towed. One guy's like, oh, this again. But the other guy has a nervous breakdown, right? He swears and he shakes his fists and he's going to call the mayor, right? And he's going to go on a shooting spree. He's just going completely nuts. Why is one different from the other? Because the second guy doesn't have a philosophy. And
just quick interjection. Why would he call the mayor?
Well, because he's overreacting. I mean, people do crazy things when they don't have a solid mindset, and that's
because they're reacting in a negative way and they're not manifesting anything positive from them.
They're half glasses of water, half empty, and those of us who do have a philosophy,
they probably didn't eat breakfast. They smoke. No vitamins, no supplements. Don't sleep well. Stressed. Right. Anyway, sorry.
And there's nothing positive going on in their minds. And I've been there, I've lived that life, and it completely sucked. So what I did is I followed the example of Bruce Lee, and I know we've talked about this on previous podcasts, but he created Jeet Kune Do, which was his unique martial art. But he's cherry picking what made sense to him from the other martial arts, and then what a concept. He actually came up with some of his own techniques that were unique to him.
Yeah.
And this is my philosophy, which I like to call, I hope this doesn't sound overly pompous, but I do have a philosophy called Johnny's Way, and it works for me. And it basically boils down to that there is a supreme being who's watching us all the time like Big Brother, and in his magnanimous, glorious grace, blessed us with a little slice of lemon called free will. We have free will. And those of us who live in the developed nations, we have way more opportunities than most of us ever realize. And if we do realize them, and if we're not going for it, it's only because we've allowed other people to poison our souls. It's hard to change your mindset. For me, what it took was loneliness. I was just spending way too much time by myself. But once we hit that emotional bottom, and some of us need to do that, we shouldn't. Some of us hit the ground running, and some of us takes a little bit longer. The most important thing is just to embrace the present. Never mind yesterday. We've all done things that we're not terribly proud of. If you think about that stuff, a lot of good people, really good people, will die without ever producing anything, and because all they're thinking about is the one thing that they did 25 years ago that nobody remembers.
Yeah.
So that's my next choice.
Yeah,
Develop a philosophy for yourself that works.
Really good advice. Nicely done.
Thank you.
And the next one, number 4 for me, is you are entitled to discipline. Discipline equals self-respect. Lack of discipline is quite obvious. You could fall into some really dark, nefarious type of living. I have floated in and out of some dark times in my life, and believe me, when I saw the darkness, there was only one way to go, and that was to follow the white light of love. And I've been doing that ever since.
Oh, women.
And yeah. And so discipline is self-respect. I wouldn't. I was a professional basketball player. I've been an athlete. Like 20. My God, I started in 1993. 32 years ago, I was a professional athlete. I mean, that's a long time ago. I started at 30. I was really late. Finished at 37, and here I am all these years later, and I just look back in that and go, my God, where has the time gone? Yeah. But I manifested that. I sold everything. I quit my job. I quit my relationships. I bought a one-way ticket and my British passport, and I manifested the dream. I wasn't entitled as a 5'11" white dude from Canada, from a small university that nobody knew, Simon Fraser University. Everybody thought it was SFU. Oh, is that San Francisco University? I'd be like, no, but thanks anyways. If you need it to be, that's fine. But my point is, get into a morning routine. And right. I'm extremely, Johnny we were having a pre-show, and Johnny says, man, you're one of the most systematic guys I know.
Paul is. You put the S in systematic.
I am. If you look it up on Wikipedia, there's a picture of me shrugging my shoulders going, I can't help myself, bro. I just, without having a system.
At a high bar, bro.
And having a morning routine. I don't just have a morning routine. I got a morning routine. I got an afternoon routine. I got an evening routine. And then I've had hard conversations with myself about if I'm falling away off the path of white light, what am I doing? So I eliminate the things that I'm doing that's making me fall.
Right. That's an important point.
And get back on track. And what those hard conversations are doing in the continued hard work is I'm not seeking gratification, although all of the hard work that I'm putting in is almost like I know that if I continue to work hard, I'll stay on the path, and it would be like a delayed gratification. It's not really gratification subjectively to me. It's about needing to manifest the systematic approach for success
business
for me.
Business before pleasure.
Absolutely. And I believe me, I've spent far too many decades in my life focusing on pleasure instead of business.
Many of us are guilty of that.
Yeah.
But sometimes we have to do that to get to where we are today.
Amen.
There we go. Okay, next on my list is, and now again, we've talked about this on previous podcasts. Okay, I'm going to go with diet, which is pretty obvious. What we put in our bodies is our fuel. And if you're eating French fries and pizza and KFC every day, like I did 35 years.
Not every day, but once a year.
For me, I like to eat pizza on the weekends. I think it's okay Saturdays and Sundays. If it kills me, it kills me. But again, if you're putting garbage into your body, you're going to have
Probably
a
will,
garbage
because
sleep.
that's not real pepperoni they're putting on your pizza. Sorry.
That's okay. So that's my next choice. When I started making changes in my life back in 2019, when I started to love myself and accept myself, and not as a narcissist, just as a self-accepting human being, I would go to the supermarket at the Safeway and I'd look at vegetables, and they started looking attractive to me. And it's a funny thing, when you like yourself, when you accept yourself, you will find, if you don't already feel that way about yourself, you will find that it's motivating, will motivate you to eat healthier. I can't even look at a Snickers bar now. It makes me sick to my stomach. I used to eat that stuff every day. And again, it takes a mindset, but it also takes, and you touched upon this a few minutes ago, Paul, repetition, right? You're not going to get a university degree overnight. I know we've talked about this before. You have to do it. You have to take baby steps, and you just keep doing it over and over again. And then it gets to the point where you don't even have to think about it. It's just natural to me. It's like with me in my writing. Yeah. I don't have to will myself to open my notebook when I go to Starbucks every morning. To me, it's as natural as eating, sleeping, and breathing.
So that's the first thing you thought about after you finish your workout in the morning is you're going to get your coffee and you're going to write.
Yeah, that's my routine. And I have a goal, and I like to think of moving towards.
This is the whole systematic approach that both of us. By the way, Johnny mentioned something really important. We brought it back in the past. Sorry, Johnny, really quick. 2019, Johnny went through a major life experience, and I don't know what month it was. Do you know what month it was?
No, I don't remember.
Well, at 2019, I had an epiphany, and I looked at myself in the mirror, and I was grossly overweight, very unhealthy. I was drinking too much. I was smoking too much pot. I was eating potato chips. I was turning into a blob of incoherent protoplasm. It wasn't going anywhere. And
beware of the blob.
I'm telling you. And this is why we're doing this. Johnny and I have known each other a long time, and we happen at the same time to go through virtually the same sort of epiphany. And we both have been on the journey for 5 years. And in the last year, I was blessed to be able to ask Johnny if he would consider joining the Canadian Bro Show and be my co-host the most. And he just looked at me and he went, absolutely, 100%, let's go. When do we start?
Forget about it.
I know. And here we are like 110 episodes later. But getting back to the thing, you are entitled to boundaries. Mental health is absolutely essential. Say no in your life as much as you can without feeling guilt. If somebody pisses you off, you can tell them to F off and don't talk to them again. I wouldn't do it that way, but one of my favorite actresses who just is 80 years old, and she just did this incredible commercial. Somebody asked her when she turned 70, what was the one thing that she regrets not doing? She said, I would have told people to F off more often 5-6 decades ago. And I thought that was a really, and it's not the most pleasant thing. People don't want to hear that. But it is really, at the end of the day, you've got to protect your energy, and you've got to distance yourself from toxic people.
It's under constant attack.
Yes.
It's like you have to have your shields up like the Enterprise.
And Johnny mentioned, we brought it up before, everybody feels it differently. It's very unpleasant. It can be extremely unpleasant, or it can be just something you say you're brushing off your shoulder like a big chunk of dandruff. When Johnny used to have hair. You don't get dandruff. You don't get dandruff if you're bald, do you?
Yeah, I have psoriasis. It's not as bad.
Oh, okay. Well, let's stay on the positivity then. Anyways, this is going to resonate heavily and positively. Johnny, you're up.
Okay, I'm going to go with the last one on my list. So I'm just sort of bouncing around here. I have 17. Next one I have is avoid arguments. Now, I fall into this rabbit hole.
Drama. I call it drama.
Drama. Avoid drama. Very rarely do I fall into this rabbit hole. And when I do, I ask myself after the fact, what is it that I could have done to avoid that unpleasantness? Because I'm not going to change your mind. You're not going to change my mind. It's good to introduce new ideas, and it's good to keep your cup empty like Bruce Lee and consider those ideas, because they might actually...
I'm a glass half full dude myself.
Right, actually be useful to you. But for goodness sakes, you're having a conversation with someone and they voice a political opinion or a religious opinion that you object to. I mean, look, it's up to you. You can do whatever you want. But if you try to engage them in an argument, you're just wasting your time. You're better off finding a brick wall and beating your head against.
Okay, and here's something you could do even faster. Don't object. Don't give an opinion. Most people won't listen to your opinion. They don't care anyways. So absorb it. Be friendly. Nod your head. Be kind. Listen to them. Let them have their micro rant and excuse yourself or change the subject. Exactly.
Go pee.
Or go pee. That's a good excuse too. And then don't come back. My next one's exactly. It's funny how when Johnny and I do these our top lists, this one's very similar. And I said, you are entitled to peace. No drama, no chaos, no constant hustle. Talk about things that make you feel comfortable, make you feel serene. Do you enjoy the feeling of tranquility when you wake up? Well, how are you going to do that? Well, meditation, yoga, quiet time with just some warm filtered water and organic lemon and repeating a mantra and just simply, spiritual grounding. Or go out to the 10-acre park across the street from me. Sometimes I just go across the street, the brand new 10-acre to Heart Community Park in Lower Mission in Kelowna. And I go across and I'll do some stretching or I'll start my morning bike ride there. And right now it's absolutely stunning. So I'm going to go out after the show and I'm going to go for a little walk. I'm still suffering the end results of a bit of a cold, but it just works, Johnny. It freaking works.
Does.
Yeah.
Got to move your bodies. Okay, I'm going to go with set an example. Most of us, I feel, go to work every day. We're not really going to the jobs that we dreamed about when we were children. We're doing what we have to do in order to maintain a roof over our head and to have food in the fridge. Whatever it is that you do for a living, if you're mopping a floor or you're running a corporation, put in 100%. Now, I have to word this very carefully because I don't know if my employer will listen to this podcast, but hypothetically, I get agitated sometimes when I'm showing someone who's a lot younger than me how to do something.
Yeah, and you've mentioned this before.
And they're looking at their phone, right? Yeah. Or they're kind of walking lackadaisically, or their hands are in their pockets. Like there's no energy. There's no life force.
Johnny, let's face it. What you do is very challenging. I have to admit, I think it's underpaid and underappreciated. And the fact that you've had a 38-year career is nothing against you. Where you're coming from is not everybody is made out to do the things that you're able to do exceptionally well.
Some people just put in like the bare minimum. They just do like the absolute
through the motions, bro.
Yeah, exactly. They're just going through the motions. And look, that's fine. But that's not how I do my job. I make mistakes. God knows. And I take.
But that's why you're a professional, bro.
And I'm the first one to admit it. When somebody says to me, "Did you do that thing the other day?" I said, "No. If I'd done it, I would have told you. I would have told you right in the moment. You should know that by now because we've been working together for 5 years."
Yeah, but when they asked that question, they probably didn't care anyways.
Well, they asked because it's part of the job.
They're killing time. It's
okay. I don't take it personally. We're a team. We're all working together and we're all trying to support each other. But some people, and again, if this is a universal thing, they just come to work and they're just punching a clock.
I've done it before. Look, I understand.
When I was younger, but not so much now. Not now. That's I put in. I like to help people. People approach me. I want to help them, and if I can't, then I try to find a way. I'll direct them to somebody who can help them, or I'll get on the radio and ask somebody.
That's why we're doing the Canadian Bro Show, so that we can share with everybody how easy it is to do exactly what we're talking about. We're not doctors, as I mentioned. A disclaimer. We're not telling people what to do. We're just reminding people that this is what Johnny and I do in our life.
And when you set a standard of excellence in your job, and I see this at work every day from my coworkers and people around me, you're showing people. People notice. People will pay attention to that.
Oh, yeah.
And the person that might pay attention to that might be someone that you might want to know, who can open a door for you so that maybe you can do what you really want to do with your life.
Like impressing your new literary agent?
Exactly. Maybe I'll hold a door open for someone and we start chatting. And next thing you know, he tells me, like you said, he's a literary agent. Hey, guess what? Yeah. I'm a writer. I'm looking for an agent.
Have you not heard of me? I am the co-host of the most on the Canadian Bro Show. It's a YouTube channel. Here's my card. Check it out. We got to get cards, by the way.
You know, a lot of times I'll walk into an elevator. I've done this many times. I don't do it every time because I don't want to push my luck. I don't want to get into trouble. But I'll actually say, "Do you like podcasts?" That's the first thing out of my mouth. And I see a lot of guys. Oh, well, there's a relatively new one on YouTube called The Canadian Bro Show. And if you like it, please subscribe.
Don't ask him that question because most people would say, "Oh my God, everybody and their dog has a podcast these days."
Not true.
It is true, actually.
But of the people that I know,
yeah,
you and I are the only ones that have podcasts in the people in my world.
Well, it's because people give up. First of all, they're scared of it. They have no idea how difficult it is. That's for another show. My next one, Johnny, if you don't mind, we'll keep this going. You are entitled to purpose. Without purpose, depression can increase. Anxiety can also compound.
Absolutely.
Self-doubt can destroy self-esteem.
Yes.
I think the discussion in this comment it's quite biting. It's going to hit everyone. Is find a mission. Get a business plan of life, a life business plan. What is your life entitlement? What is your business plan?
Yeah, write it down.
Write it down.
It's important.
And manifest it.
Don't just
I would write it down first, and once you write it down, you'll memorize it anyways. And if you do a mantra every day, and you've got a goal chart and a picture board, there's a lot of creative ways you can do it. But do something. Build something that matters to you. And volunteer. Service to others, to friends, to a senior's home where people are alone. And you could read a book with them, or you could volunteer taking pets. I live across the street from a dog park. Maybe I should, on a part-time gig, a little side hustle, as I slip into retirement in the near future, if I'm not already, go out and be a dog walker. Because I've got 24 beaches all along 20 minutes from my place.
Wow.
It's incredible. But anyways... and so that's essentially what I was talking about. Is you're entitled to purpose, Johnny. How many more you got?
I got a few more. I mean, there's some overlap because we've already touched on these points. I guess I'll go with, we've touched on this already. Again, don't let the negativity of other people bring you down.
Yeah, we have touched on that.
We go to work every day, and just keep your
So what's the best way when someone's so negative around you, and they're attacking you at your job, or they're attacking you on a person, or at a bar or on a bus? What is the first thing that you do, Johnny? What is your natural reaction?
If it's in the professional context, I've said this a few times, I feel like I'm in the right, and then someone's been misinformed, I'll say I stand by my conduct. I got that from the Tom Clancy novel. If it's not good enough, it's not good enough.
And then Tom Clancy will take an entire chapter and explain what conduct is to that context.
It'll be 1,000 pages. Yeah, or I'll say something like, thank you for your input. I've said this many times. I reach out to, at least once or twice a week, maybe more, I reach out to a lot of podcasts, and I'll give them the information. I'll give them all the information that you could ever want, other than my blood type. And they'll say, I need information. I need more information. And I send them back. I always write back, thank you very much. I'm moving forward. Best of success. Because most podcasts, you send them the information and boom, you're off and running. You schedule on the calendar and you do the show. But some people, they want you to jump through hoops. Like I had one guy, I was scheduled to do a podcast, and this guy sent me an email. He wrote, talk less, listen more, and dress appropriately. And I wanted to write back, fuck you, man. Seriously. I almost did that. I'm glad I didn't. But I just wrote, you know what? I'm moving forward.
Well, that's very unlike you, by the way. But I completely understand. And honestly, I've had that once myself, and I turned away somebody that we were going to interview, and the smugness and the attitude.
Yeah. Some people are like that.
And then the creepiness on some of his comments were just like, oh God. But really good point, Johnny. That's a powerful one right there, bro.
Here's a good measure of self-confidence. You know you're self-confident when you can say to yourself, you know what? This person needs me a hell of a lot more than I need them. That is one of the best standards of self. And it's not arrogance. It's self-belief.
I don't even think you need to go that. It's doing that is like putting yourself on a pedestal. You just shrug it off, look at the guy, and move on.
Yeah, exactly.
Because, take the high road and just keep on being incredible. Just keep on being fabulous. Keep on being kind.
And keep knocking on doors. And some of the doors,
Johnny, sometimes you don't knock on a door and it opens.
Yeah, and you never know who's going to be on the other side.
Manifest.
That golden key.
Well, it's entirely possible. My next one is, you are entitled to growth. Growth can hurt.
Yes.
Growth has stretches, ups and downs, ebbs and flows, good and bad. And growth can also humble, which is how you learn empathy. Comfort is the enemy of evolution.
Ooh, I like that. That's good.
Thank you.
Love that.
Yeah. And that's enough said. It's quite straightforward.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I've only got two more after this.
If you're too comfortable, you're doing something wrong. Okay, I'm going through my list here. Okay, this is kind of segues into what you just said. Keep your cup empty, everyone. Don't go through life thinking that you know all the answers. You don't. There's things that we can learn every day. That's why I enjoy reading so much, whether it's fiction or nonfiction. And if I read a word, I don't do this every time, but at least once a day, I'm pretty good at Googling a word that I don't know the definition of. I think it helps my writing, and I think it also helps my character. If I have any, there's no such thing. I am a character. We're all characters.
You are a character, but you have a lot more character than you probably give credit yourself for.
Well, that's very sweet of you to say. Again, keep your cup empty. Be open to other people's ideas. Again, if you don't agree with them, that's absolutely fine. But, kind of mull over it a little bit. You might find a nugget in that pile of garbage, that might be useful to you. If you don't keep your cup empty, then I don't think you really have much of a shot of ever really succeeding in life, other than beyond whatever it is you're doing for a living.
Well, there are
motivation. Yeah,
it's a good point. At the end of the day, when you're at the lowest of the low, there's hope. When you're at the highest, the high, there could be an incredible fall.
Right. But there's also another plateau that
absolutely. I mean, this is why we're talking about it. My next one is
another hill.
My next one is very important, like all these are. You are entitled to forgiveness. Probably one of my most favorite here, because a lot of people just do not understand how to forgive and the importance of forgiveness in one's life, in our journey. And for the heart, the soul, the spirit, the mind, everything, it encapsulates everything in our life. And if you can't forgive, yourself, if you can't forgive your family, your friends, your exes, you're going to live in a really dark, lonely place for a long time.
You'll suffer. You'll just suffer.
And you got to I'm telling you. So in saying that, forgive yourself. Right? Stand in front of a mirror and have a good cry and realize that you're imperfect and you've failed most of the time, and forgive yourself. And watch this show and start learning how to, after you forgive yourself, to how to pick up your heart, your soul, your spirit, your mind, and learn to expand your heart and grow and, learn, because the art of life entitlement is very broad. And you might be a painter with a smaller paintbrush, or you might be a masterpiece painter with no paintbrush. But everybody has the opportunity.
Are you being metaphorical, bro? I'm just kidding.
Are you kidding? Everybody has an opportunity to create a masterpiece with whatever stroke you want to use.
That's an interesting word that you just used. Anyway, yes, I agree 100%.
And the last one.
Sure.
Forgive others, which is what I just said, and let go of past versions of yourself.
Oh, that's a good one.
I am not the same person I was in so many multiple times and decades in my life. I look back on where I was, and I'd just rather not. I know where I was. I've learned to forgive myself and others. I've done a ton of therapy. I've traveled the world. I've been now in a monogamous relationship with one of the most amazing women I've ever met in my life. And when I say women, she's a Gemini. I think there's more than two, and I can't really put my finger on it, but whatever. Sometimes more is better. In this case, it might be. And all of what I just said is going to connect our spirituality, which is when the vessel passes, and it will pass, our spirit and soul will move on.
Yes, there's a continuum.
Into eternity. And I only have one more after this. Johnny, what do you got?
Let's see. What do we got here?
Do you want to just bang this out?
Okay, I guess one more and then I'm done. Again, we touched on this earlier. Okay, here's one. Be specific in your goal setting. When I was a younger man,
Specific or realistic or both?
all of the above. What is it that's attainable? But you have to nail it down. Because when I was a younger man, I always knew it was artsy. Oh, maybe I want to draw. Oh, maybe I want to be an actor. Oh, maybe I want to be a writer. I was just kind of bouncing around all over the place. Successful people don't think that way. They're like the Terminator, right? They focus on a goal and they move towards it. And whatever mishaps occur along the way, that's just part of the growth experience. The important thing is that you have to have a target. You have to have a specific goal in your mind's eye, which I have now, which is I want my writing to be my main source of income, and also doing this podcast. I think that there's tremendous potential for generating income in the long term. So again, if you're lost at sea like Robinson Crusoe, it's because your goals are wishy-washy. You can't be like Miyagi said in Karate Kid. He said, if you walk on the left side of the road,
here comes the Miyagi quote.
Right? If you walk on the left side of the road, you're safe. If you walk on the right side of the road, you're safe. But if you walk in the middle of the road, you get run over by a car. Don't be a fence sitter. Be specific, and then get the information that you need. And again, if you just be loving, love yourself, forgive yourself, as you said earlier, and you will find, as I have, that love really, because when we feel loved, we feel worthy. And we'll feel worthy, and we'll feel motivated.
What Johnny is saying essentially, and everybody says it, is really at the end of the day, the most important thing in life, simply, profoundly, and organically, is love. Love. The most important essence of life that will fill your heart, your spirit, your soul, your mind, your body, your vessel with love, and follow the white light of love and stay on that path. There's a really nice way to finish. I got one more, which is very, very similar to what Johnny just said. You are entitled to become your highest self. Bring it all together. Mind, body, spirit, discipline, purpose. Entitlement isn't about expecting the world to give you something. No. It's about you deciding you deserve to build something much more yourself.
And love the work. Never mind whether it makes you money, just love the doing. Do it for the doing.
Just do it. Right. Just do it. Don't think about it too much. Just do it. Everything else will unfold. The doors will open organically. And most people think entitlement is toxic, and it's not. It's toxic when you're not building towards self-fulfillment and self-entitlement, right? And so, but what if you're entitled to more from what you're offering yourself? This is the big question. If you're missing holes in your life, fill them. Take the steps to do it. This is what the episode's on. I hope everybody enjoyed it. Before we finish up, Johnny and I like to talk about, we're both writers and voracious readers. Johnny's more voracious than me. He seems to have a little bit more time than I do. Or maybe I don't make enough time for everything else. Yeah. No, but I mean, my wife's in Vancouver holding fort at our place, and I'm in Kelowna taking care of new tenants, my investments, and staying away from the rain of Vancouver. But my mom is really close, and I was just with her this afternoon, and to see her at 83 and after everything we've gone through, man, she's done exactly what this episode's about, Johnny. It's really
amazing. Last picture I saw, I couldn't believe it.
Quite remarkable what she's done, and it's inspired me. And that's really one of the keystones of me going through what I did in 2019 when I had that epiphany. But in the meantime, everybody, before we go and sign off, Johnny and I, we first of all, Johnny's a writer. So, Johnny, what are you going to read today? Can you tell everyone a little bit about your character and a synopsis, and then get into what you're reading? And then we'll do our current reading books. Okay. And Johnny has a pun, and we're going to wrap everything up.
Sounds good. Well, Paul, if you're going to put a gun to my head, if you're going to twist my arm, I guess I can do this. Okay.
Is this another shameless?
It is.
Okay.
So I am a self-published author. My hero is named Lee Hacklin. He's a private investigator. He's a smoker, drinker. He's a ladies' man, and he has a heart of gold. He likes to help people.
And he lives in the 70s.
He lives in most of my stories set in the 1970s, New York City. My latest Lee Hacklin mystery is called Bonnie and Clive. Here we go. Chapter 1. New York, thank you. New York City, 1978. Do a little dance. Make a little love.
Excuse me.
Get down tonight.
Yeah, for sure.
Catchy tune, but not at F30 in the morning. There was a party in progress on the other side of my bedroom. The walls of my Queens apartment building were thin. So was rice paper. Cry, baby, sigh. I had a meeting with a client at 10:30. That was 4 hours from now. What the hell? Sleep is for losers. I rolled out of bed, my brand new water bed. Rolling on the river. It was a birthday present to my sister Anne. I slid into my Make Mine Marble t-shirt, sweatpants, and Arthur Ashes. You're staying in your holster, Mr. Browning. I've reached and surpassed my quota of evictions for the year. I locked the front door of my suite and knocked on the adjacent one. Then I counted to 10. Silence. Temper, Hacklin. I tried the knob. It tasted like chicken. So does chicken. From the suite, I heard this brilliant statement. Ha ha, Luke can't get it up. I entered a scene right out of National Lampoon's Animal House. Dean Wormer, you're a real mean guy. The suite looked like the aftermath of an earthquake. There were dozens of crushed beer cans littered on the hardwood floor. A dozen or so besuited young men surrounded a naked young man who was tied to a chair. He was crying. A very beautiful and buck-nude woman was straddling him. One of the plaster bozos said, "Hey man, ever heard of knocking?" I walked up to the lovely lass, put my hands on her hips. She was 100 pounds soaking wet, lifted her, and gently placed her pretty behind on a sofa. Then I untied Luke. "I want to go home, sir." The porkiest of the Mensa members yelled, "Not a chance, Luke. You can go home after you bang the present we paid an arm and a leg for." I punched his mouth. After flicking away one of his teeth, a molar, I believe, from my knuckles, I helped Luke dress. We left and took the elevator to the underground parkade. Before getting into my sweet ride, muscle cars, thou art now and forever magnificently awesome. Luke extended his hand and we shook. That guy you decked, he's been a bully his whole life. I never thought I'd ever see anyone put him in his place. Thank you, sir. It's Lee. I like gratitude. It speaks well of a man. So does courage. We all have it, but it's worth less than slag if we don't act upon it when it counts. Okay, where do you live? Let's get you home, young Skywalker. And that's
I love it. That's great. For Johnny, just tell everyone briefly about where they can find your work.
Sure. If you go to, thank you so much. Well, if you go to Kobo or Barnes & Noble online, and if you type in John Leister, my email is on the screen. Anybody who's interested, time permitting, I do work full time. I've done this before. I'd be more than happy to email anyone who's interested in one of my short stories or one of my short novels. There's also Hoopla and Smashwords is another one. There's like or Apple's another one. There's like 7 or 8 platforms. I use a website called Draft2Digital, and that
put that on your Facebook page as well. All that info.
Sure. Yeah,
if it's not already there.
Anybody out there who wants to write a book, use Draft2Digital. It's easy to use. It's free. And I started off with Amazon, but I had way too many hiccups with them. So thank you so much for letting me do that.
Yeah, my pleasure, Johnny. No, I mean it's always good. I love your work, and it resonates with me. And what I'll go into one of the books I want to get into, because I've heard about this author my whole life, and I've never read. I don't think I've ever read any of them, and many of you will know. I'm sure Johnny will, because he's a prolific writer and reader. The book that I want to get into is written by Wilbur Smith.
Oh,
and it's called Hungry as the Sea. And what a fascinating life this guy has. I just want to read you a quick synopsis of his books before I get into this, because I had no idea who this guy was. He was an adventurer, a writer, and he's like the guy that when you do an episode like this, where a guy could be living in a garage somewhere as an addict, and then all of a sudden he turns into Wilbur Smith and travels the world and adventures and writes 100 books.
You're right. I know. I've never read one of his books, but I've seen it in the library in chapters. Oh my God, he's so prolific.
So listen to this. Hungry as the Sea. Wilbur Smith was born in Central Africa in 1933. He was educated at the Michael House and Rhodes University. He became a full-time writer in 1964 after successful publication of When the Lion Feeds. Has since written 26 novels, all meticulously researched on numerous expeditions worldwide that he has partaken in. His books are now translated into 26 languages. He owns a farm and a game reserve, and an abiding concern for people and wildlife of his native continent, obviously of Africa, interest strongly reflected, obviously, in his novels. He is married to Danielle, to whom his last 21 novels have been dedicated to. The name, I'm really going to get into this. This is going to be juicy. Wilbur Smith, Hungry as the Sea. I love the title.
It is a great title.
Yeah. And that's and you've got a pun to finish the show off? Or you got a book and then a pun?
Oh, I do have a book. I got this at the library today. I don't finish every book that I read. I usually have 3 or 4 going at the same time.
Yeah.
But when I saw the title, Putin's Gambit, it's a standalone book. It's not part of a series. Lou Dobbs passed away, but I read chapter 1 today.
Lou Dobbs wrote it?
Yeah.
Oh,
cool.
cool.
I love these political.
Yeah. Oh, really? Eh? Because we should do a political show sometime then. See what you got.
Okay, here's my pun. Here we go.
Okay.
I need to turn off the phone. Okay. This is a good one. I get my donuts, Lifesavers, Cheerios, and onion rings at Whole Foods. You're welcome.
Well, another extraordinary episode at the Canadian Bro Show.
On that note.
And this is my co-host of the most, Mr. Johnny Leister. And we really enjoyed today's episode. And in the ticker below, there are our past episodes and what's happening right now. We've got a really good latest NBA fantasy basketball pre-All-Star game video that's out, episode 46, all basketball with Pauly and Raleigh. You can see that my co-host of the most on the ticker, Johnny Leister's YouTube channel and his Facebook, Johnny's Way, as he was mentioning. And of course, at the YouTube, you can support us. You could subscribe to at the Canadian Bro Show. And then I'm actually a licensed realtor. It's hard to believe in being a licensed realtor in British Columbia in the last 4 years. It's been an absolute nightmare what's going on in real estate, but I'll fill in that more later. In the meantime, thank you kindly for everybody enjoying our show. And I'm so happy to be able to finally do this. And I'm just going to remove Johnny and I from the screen for a second, and we're going to go. In the meantime, be kind out there. We'll see you next week. Take care. Love everybody. Pauly and Johnny at the Canadian Bro Show. Johnny, we'll talk to you soon, bro.